Alan, who is the last contestant to get eliminated from MasterChef SA, is joining me in studio. She's going to give us a special sneak peek at her time on the reality cooking show. Hello.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming in. I love your green shirt.
Thank you, nice and bright. Cape Town summer has arrived.
Beautiful. Now, you were just eliminated from MasterChef SA on Thursday.
I was.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I have known for a while, but I did speak to my family and I said, oh, I'm getting eliminated today. And my dad went, but you know this already. And I said, Dad, it's a girl thing, you know, like they're going to play what's happened. And but it was awesome to see. And I loved my montage at the end of the episode and really made me see like exactly the full journey I've actually taken, which was amazing.
Now, you said your dad knew. You talked to him about it. Did other people know that you were eliminated? Who was allowed to know?
Mom and Dad, no.
Okay.
There's a very strict confidentiality. Mom and Dad did know. They live in Australia, so they actually haven't watched any of the episodes.
Oh, okay.
So I was very fortunate enough once I was eliminated. I made a SOS phone call to Mom and Dad, and I was put on a plane and flew to Australia. So nobody knew that I was in South Africa, I'd been eliminated. So I just headed Australia for a little bit and came back. And then I just went, I'm back. And they were like, how did you do it? I said, you just have to wait and see. You watch the show.
Oh my gosh.
So you sign very, very big contracts, so you don't tell.
I can imagine. And then you went off to Hideaway in Australia.
I did.
What was it like to see all of those emotions and that last episode? Like, what was it like to see all of that again?
You want to jump in and change what you do. You're like, why did you do that? It's like it throughout the show. I mean, I was fortunate enough to be almost halfway through 9 episodes. So near the end of the last 9 episodes, I started to actually enjoy myself on camera. Because the first couple of episodes, you're like, oh my word, do I really look like that? And why did you do that? And why did you say that? And does your lip really do that when you talk? Do I sound like that?
A daily occurrence.
Yes, I can imagine. So, but it was awesome, and it was so nice to also get insight into what the other contestants did, because we don't get to see what they cook and what they interact and what they finally plate and what their dishes look like, because you're completely consumed in what you're doing in that moment, in that short period of time, and then you rush your set and go to judgment and interviews, that you don't get to see what the other contestants actually have made.
Wow. Now I want to go all the way back to the beginning before we continue here. What made you want to join MasterChef?
I always wanted to be a chef. That was the plan.
What was the first thing you ate that made you want to be a chef?
Oh, someone asked me that question a couple of weeks ago, and the oldest memory I have was probably about 4 or 5, and I was chopping feta cheese for a salad with my uncle, and he's a general manager at a hotel. But in my mind, he was a chef because he loved food, and he was a trained chef in my eyes, and I wanted to be just like him, and that was the plan. And when I was in matric, I changed my mind. I decided to go into events, and I own an events and marketing company, which I absolutely love. And last year, I kind of started figuring, you know, what are your hobbies? You know, you're getting like 27 now, like you start thinking about other things. And I was like, well, I love cooking. And I fill out my forms, what hobbies, cooking. And I was like, is cooking really a hobby?
It is.
Okay, it's now a hobby.
Yep.
But I kind of thought about it and decided, okay, well, let me do a cooking course and see if I can do this whole chefing thing for real. Just part-time. And while I was Googling on the couch, sitting, watching TV, the call for entries for MasterChef came on. And I thought, let me just figure out what this is all about. And MasterChef has very strict rules with regards to not actually being a professional chef or having any culinary training. You have to be a home cook. And yeah, so I decided, well, let me do this, and I can do the course afterwards and see how far I get. And I made it all the way to the kitchen. It was amazing.
Oh my gosh. Now I want to talk about your entry dish. What was it?
I made something really yummy. I made an apple and nougat tart.
And now, is this something you've been making for a long time?
No, not at all. I got a very good friend of mine bought me a recipe book for my birthday, and I literally got it, very belated birthday, because my birthday's on Christmas Day. I got it just after Valentine's Day, so it was like a week or 2 before the actual MasterChef Cold Editions. I got this recipe, and I love nougat, and I was like, ooh, this sounds amazing. And in the recipe book, there actually is a recipe to make your own homemade nougat. So I made homemade nougat, and I made the tart, and it was a great hit, and I said, okay, this is it. It's great because you have to do a cold dish. Okay. Your dish actually gets measured with a special thermometer, and it like looks like a little laser gun. And they come up to you and they test it. And
that's quite intimidating.
No, it's very intimidating because they tell you if it is higher than a certain amount of degrees, the chefs won't taste it and will get sent home because of possibly them getting sick. You know, if you've been traveling for 4 or 5 hours in the heat and you're serving them seafood.
No.
I had a short drive from Sea Point to the foreshore, so just fine.
Good.
And yeah, I got there early, made sure I was there at 6 o'clock, and I was able to present my dish. Pete was with me, and it was amazing. They seemed to love it, and I made it through to the next round, and that was hot auditions, which was 2-3 days later. And I knew exactly what I wanted to make, so I made homemade puff pastry, and I made a salmon Wellington, with a salad and a really nice caper and butter dill sauce. And that was hard because a lot of that process, fortunately, we were allowed to pre-make our pastas and doughs. So I'd pre-made my puff pastry the night before, chilled it, brought it through. But with a Wellington, you prep and then you watch your dish bake in the oven. And I just remember standing there going, bake, baby, bake, 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 bake. And I remember Pete going, you've put a lot of like, into this one dish by going, okay, I'm leave it in the oven and then I just have to sit and wait. You're very brave. And luckily it paid off. And they loved it. My salmon was cooked amazingly. Pastry could have done with a little bit more time, but I got through to boot camp.